Welcome everybody to Colorbar. I'm Betsy Davis.
I'm Kim Updike. Good to see you, Betsy.
Good to see you too. So we've just started Colorbar.
Yes.
But we're already going global.
We are. We're international.
We're international
Big time.
today.
Big time today.
And with two of my favorite people on the globe, John Bailey, CEO of Precision Proco out of the UK, and Kelvin Gage, Global Head of Supply Chain from Sydney, Australia. What's up, mates?
How you doing?
Oh, good. I forgot whenever, so John sent me a little text first thing this morning, and I forget, I always say my friends, my buddies or whatever, and they always refer to each other as mates, and so I'm like, I'm going to have to say mates today instead
Good day,
of,
mates.
instead of
Hello,
friends.
mate.
What up, mate?
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I should start with "G'day, mate," just so you can pick the Aussie in the crowd.
See, there you go. Well, and
I
here's
like
the other
it.
thing.
That is,
Huh?
that is the only problem with the mate thing, is that I occasionally get accused of being Australian, which is an issue, obviously. So it's the only issue.
Well, I can't tell your accents apart. I can sometimes barely understand. Sometimes I can barely understand you both. So I just smile and nod. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, John Bailey. I have no idea what's happening.
I'm just going to smile, nod, and follow
anything he says
along.
that you don't understand.
Yes.
I can just interpret for you. If you don't understand what he says, I can be
I
an
can't
interpreter.
understand you either. What are you talking about? And you guys probably can't understand me either, so it's fine. It's probably why we like each
I
other
was going
so
to say,
much.
is that why how you all get along so well?
Exactly right.
We're not really sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Well, I really appreciate you both joining. Kelvin, first thing in the morning. John, as you're wrapping up your day, getting ready to go on vacation here in a bit. So thank you. So we all met. I had to go back into the archives of my phone to figure out exactly when we met. And we're going to talk about DSCOOP today, an organization that all three of us are a part of, gratefully. 3 years ago, Denver, Colorado, I met both of you. Yeah, for the first time.
You know what's scary about that is I cannot believe it's only 3 years. You know what? If you want to sum up what that's all about, is how can that only be 3 years ago?
I know.
I feel like so we've met what, 8 times, if that, 5 times.
For sure.
And yet we're as close as we are. That's crazy, huh?
I know. But I was also thinking about it too. I've also been around John kind of all over the world. Like we've been in Israel together and in Italy, the States, obviously. I still haven't been to the UK or to Sydney, but that's on the list. Yeah. And Kelvin, we met for the first time in Denver too.
3 years ago, I reckon we all looked a fair bit younger, so I don't know what this relationship has done to our aging process.
Hey, pardon me.
You said you said it's in the morning here, Bets. Yeah, in Sydney, it is ahead of time, obviously. So I am coming to you from the future, but I also figure out it's why I look and feel so much older, because I am older than you guys, right? I'm coming to you from the day after we're actually speaking, but. Yeah, Betsy, you and I did meet in person in Denver, but as we were just reminiscing, we actually met before that because DSCOOP put together a little video introduction, because that was the first DSCOOP coming out of COVID, and you and I had to do a little on-screen cameo dialogue, but we hadn't ever met each other, but we had to pre-record our thing. So I'm talking to this woman called Betsy that I've never met, hadn't seen, and I'm picturing I don't know, excuse me for saying, but a 70-year-old grandma who'd been in the print industry for 60 years. And when we finally met in person, it was a wonderful, pleasant surprise. And of course, this video was all a bit of a laugh, but it was the intro to the conference. So we actually met before that without actually meeting in person. So it started a little bit more than 3 years ago, but it's been a heck of a ride since. And Johnny, you and I met at the DSCOOP in Singapore 10 or 15 years ago, maybe?
Something like that. I've stopped counting, Kel.
Yeah. There was no grey hairs back then, let me tell you.
Well, evidently, you just said I've aged so much. Maybe I do look like a 75-year-old grandmother at this point. I don't know. So we
Bets, you noticed I kept well out of that one, right?
I know, exactly. So we keep talking DSCOOP. So John just stepped down as the global chair for DSCOOP. So I'm going to pick on you a little bit. For those that don't know, talk a little bit about what is DSCOOP.
The DSCOOP's an amazing organisation. It's celebrating its 20th year this year, which for an organisation that is created by volunteers, and our thing is about by the members for the members, right? To actually have this organization, it's been going for 2 decades, right? Which is insane.
Yeah.
I've been involved for 17 years, I think, something like that now. And it's basically, it started out very much as an HP Indigo user group and graphic arts group. It's still very much at the core of what we do, but it's grown into a wider sort of industry thing. But DSCOOP is just an amazing organization that brings together the community, the HP graphic arts PSP community, with the partners that we all work with, right, with HP, and it creates this environment which is just, almost impossible to replicate, where you go, you have yearly events, but then it's also an all year round community. And we now have 20,000 members, right, 7,000 plus businesses, companies involved around the world. And it's just created this unique community that honestly is just full of the most amazing people, and it just transforms people's businesses. And I'm so humbled. I did step down last year, as you said, from global chair. I'm still involved in it and hope to be for a long time. When I look at what it's achieved and I see the business growth of the community and the business growth of its members, it just is unbelievable what it actually delivers, and the friendships it creates. It's just fantastic.
Do we know how many countries are represented? Do we have that number? We'll have to.
We do have that number. It's a lot. We obviously have full. It's 80 plus. We have full.
Wow, that's amazing.
Full coverage APJ. Right. Full US and Americas. Full EMEA. And obviously it started off as an Americas thing, and then we've gone into the other regions, and we're actually going to be ramping that up in the coming years. Watch this space. That's an exclusive for you. We're ramping back up to being global again after COVID. And it just covers, engages all the different areas. I remember when we started EMEA, and it was the same in APJ. Everyone was saying it won't work because of the language barriers and the cultural barriers. And actually, it's done the complete opposite, right? Those regions that have those language barriers and have those cultural barriers have gone, this is fantastic. We needed something to glue us all together. So they've all jumped in. So it's really vibrant in those areas as well.
I love that. I was thinking, like the global part, I think about the conversations that we've all had at DSCOOP events and at Edge that we've talked about, and I'll have Kelvin talk a little bit more about Edge in a second, but just even from you two, believe it or not, I learn a lot from you guys. Just teasing.
I'm surprised.
No, like I
Believe it or
have
not.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever we were talking about starting Colorbar, and I immediately think of like who are the people that I would love to have on the show that I deem as friends, but also just really smart industry people, and you two immediately came to mind. But one of the reasons is because I feel like we get pretty myopic. I know I do. Like I just become my company, the United States, like my little town in Oklahoma, et cetera. And so whenever I have conversations with you guys, it's so interesting to see.
It's a whole new perspective of what's going on globally.
Absolutely.
What you're seeing in different markets and different countries.
Yeah, so you guys have opened my eyes to things that we don't necessarily think about all the time here in the States that are big topics for you guys. What is happening? What's happening in your worlds right now?
What's really cool about that, and just before I pass over to Kelvin, what's happening in this world, what's really cool about that is 20 years ago, this was really hard to get people to talk, right? Why would I go to an event where my competitors and tell them what I'm doing? And it took some brave people, the Rod Keys of the world and the Jack Lackens of the world to actually go and say, actually, let's share what we do, because if we empty what we know, then we empty our brains and we can pick some more stuff back up. So it took some pioneers to generate what we do now. And we're still pioneering the people who go to DSCOOP because everyone says to me, why have you invested so much of your time, your business time, your career in the community and sharing and telling people what you do? Doesn't that surely put you at a disadvantage? And I totally disagree. I think if you go and you empty your bucket of your ideas and you share it with people that you trust, that trust is then reciprocated and they give you the same back, and suddenly you've got a new idea and you're away, and you're then always ahead of the people who aren't sharing. You're always ahead. And the stats show that these group members are higher growth, more profitable, more volume. That speaks for itself. So I just think now it's a lot more accepted but there's still a long way to go of people who won't do it. And it needs, thank you for this sort of thing, Betsy, because this is the sort of thing where people look and see and say, what? Why would you do that, John? Why would you share this with these guys? Well, because it just improves the industry. And if the industry grows, we all grow.
We all grow with
customers
it.
grow. Exactly. And it just opens up the world of opportunity. All we want to do is keep print going and thriving and evolving together, right? For all of our businesses and for our customers. So together we are so much stronger, and it's really important that people understand that.
I think it's really interesting. Every time I've had a conversation with somebody that's been a first time to come to an Edge event or something, we all say that. We all say that we're all super comfortable and you're going to be so surprised. And I think every time they are so surprised about how open all of us are and how open they feel like they can be in return very quickly. It's kind of just
that.
Look,
we've just explained, right? We've just said we've known each other for 3 years, and it's like we've known each other for ages, and we trust each other implicitly, right? So, and I think that's really key. The other part, just before I stop going on, you opened the gate up, right? So,
open it, go.
Is that it's an all year round event. It was very much a yearly thing historically because we did these events, but now if you look at the content that's available on the dscoop.com website, it's unbelievable for operators, for managers, for salespeople, for the owners. There's enough content on there that you don't have to go anywhere else. The programs on AI, the programs on the next generation, the youth coming in, it's phenomenal, and it's underutilized by our members. And we need to really start pushing that, because that backed up with an Edge. By the time you get to Edge, you've seen all these people on all the calls, and you're like best mates, and it just amplifies your opportunity.
I love that you just teed up about 3 things that I wanted to talk about while we were all chatting today. So I appreciate
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. So Kel, I am going to pick on you now. So we've talked about like DSCOOP and that, Peter will love us for making sure that we say that this is not just a one-time annual event, because we try to make sure everybody realizes that. But Edge is our global event where we bring these 80 countries together and all of these fantastic people. But Kel, talk a little bit about what Edge means to you, or what Edge is, that people need to understand what that really means as an event.
Sure. But so Edge it defines our conferences, right? And obviously the big one, and the one coming up really soon that we're really looking forward to in Long Beach, is going to be amazing. But we also have a number of Edge conferences. We talked about the global nature of DSCOOP. Yes, it was birthed in the US. Yes, the biggest conference, the Edge conference, is in the US every year. But John said he represented the EMEA, the European board, for many years. I came from the APJ, the Asia Japan Pacific board, and at any given time there's different events. We've got one in Thailand coming up soon. There's been one in India just in the last week. We're birthing one in I can't say yet, but there's another big European event coming next year. But there's been events this year in Rome, places like Rome and Barcelona. This is a truly global nature. When you start talking about learnings that come from the community, it isn't just your local area specific. We learn from people all over the world, and you would know we're lucky enough to sit on once a quarter a global boards meeting where you get 40, 50, 60 people, and we're all sitting from Latin America, from Eastern Europe, from Japan, from India, from the Philippines, and
little Tulsa.
From Oklahoma. Yeah.
You're
Tulsa.
on the map.
And it's almost my favorite. It's almost one of my favorite things to do is to and the facilitator Pete, our executive director of DSCOOP, goes around the grounds, and it's in like an hour you get an insight into the global world of print and what's happening, and that is an awesome way, I think, of painting the DSCOOP picture of what it is. I mean, DSCOOP for me in the very early days was a ticket for greater knowledge and greater understanding, and opening up my mind to the world of what you could do in your print business. In fact, before I ever had Indigos, we were looking at what machines to get, and I spoke to a good colleague who I know had HP Indigo presses. And I said, what do you think? And he said, mate, you've got to get an Indigo because it's your ticket to DSCOOP. It's like, just get a machine so you can go to DSCOOP. I did go to DSCOOP 15, 16, 17 years later. Here I am, serving on the global board with Johnny and talking to you guys about it. And we talk about that sharing, just to reiterate that sharing. I had 100 stories I could tell. So come and bail me up at Long Beach, and I'll actually have the people there because I know some of my colleagues from Australia that used to be my dead set toe-to-toe, fist fight competitors in Australia that we would compete with customers on. We'd all go and sit around a bar or sit in the conference hall at DSCOOP, and the curtains come down and we start to talk about what our Australian market's like, what our competitors are like, what's going on here, what's going on there. And it opened up this new sense of relationship that still exists today, where each of us talk far more regularly. I've had some of my competitors back in the day when I had the print business ring me up and say, hey, do you know one of your sales reps has just applied for a job with me, right? Depending on the sales rep, I said, oh, great, you can have her, or just keep your hands up or whatever. But that would never have happened without the collaboration that comes from DSCOOP. It's really unique. I don't know. I haven't seen in my 30 plus years in business, haven't seen that exist anywhere else. But certainly things like Edge, Long Beach Conference, Bets, is the pinnacle of what we do. There's a number of different parts to it. It's multifaceted. We've got the keynote speakers, fantastic guys from all over the world, different, typically outside of print. We've talked about this year the Erin Meyer, the culture expert, with Desmond John. In the past we've had Magic Johnson, and this year we've got Tony Hawk skateboarder. It's certainly outside the print environment, but bring along insight for general business and learnings in certain aspects of business. We've got these very much targeted education tracks. I'm sure you're going to talk about them a little bit more because they're great. We've got the showcase where our fantastic partners, again from each aspect of the print industry, come along and tell us all about the latest and greatest innovations in software, in paper, in print finishing, in pre-press, in workflow, and of course HP bring a whole bunch of great new kit that we look at. And of course then there's the great aspect of socializing and networking and creating the environment where fun happens, where business happens, where connections are made, and we're unashamed that we like the fact that business does happen. We make introductions, and John will tell you how much of his business has been generated out of DSCOOP relationships, and it's massive. So the people that you bump into, the people that you learn from, the people that you're introduced to. John and I were at a conference in Vienna, and we were just walking through a corridor. I happened to be printing for a big customer in Europe. I introduced them to John. They're now a significant customer for him that we have lots to do with. We just create the environment for magic to happen.
I love it. You two, actually, for my own business, I had a customer come to us and say, we have to start shipping to our customers in the Asia Pacific and in Europe in a different way, in a better way, faster way. Immediately, I'm WhatsApping you two, and whether you liked it or not, you agreed to help me.
Whether you regret that decision
Whether you
at this
regret
point.
that decision or not,
Right,
but,
exactly.
But I will tell you, it went such a long way with my customer, and I immediately just said, I know exactly who to go to. They're friends of mine from a community that I'm on the board with, and give me a couple of days to figure this out. And to be able to say that is strong. And I would have not had the opportunity to do that if I didn't have this kind of outlet and community to work with them.
I think we take it for granted, right? Because we're so used to it, but actually that's pretty special. You think about this, you could be anywhere in the world. That's what I love about what we do now. You could be anywhere in the world and you design a canvas, and you're sat in your bedroom in Singapore, you design a canvas. You can get that printed anywhere in the world that afternoon and start making money from it, revenue via the marketplace, via the community. And to be able to say to a PSP, I'm thinking of taking this brand global, and I want to produce it and send it directly to people in the UK, and from a US perspective, being able to go, I know exactly how to make that happen. And literally within an hour, you can have that production done locally, which, by the way, with the sustainability piece is now critical. It's a must. It's not a nice to have. It's a essential. Is business changing, right?
Yep. So what are some of the other hot topics? You've talked about sustainability a lot the last couple of years that I've known you, but I also think about the power conversation that I don't know when this was, a year or so ago, and just what you guys were having to struggle with. Like, it's things that we don't necessarily think about in the States. So what's happening down under and across the pond, I guess, just business-wise?
Business-wise in the UK is interesting. You know, the only decent thing that came out of Brexit, and I mean the only decent thing that we made when we decided to make that stupid decision to come out of Europe. And by the way, just for our audience here, we're still in Europe. We're just not in the European Union. Everyone keeps saying not in Europe, but we're still European. Right? It's still Europe. We just come out of EU. But trading is the only good thing. Is actually, if you want to produce on-demand production in the UK now, from a sustainability perspective and from a time perspective, you have to produce in the UK. But the big things that are happening in the UK is we've now got another new government in play. I'm not going to even go there with what you've got going on, though, because it pales into insignificance. So we're going to keep.
We can go there. We'll have to edit most of it out, but we can go there.
We're going to keep out of that one, which isn't helping. But there's a lot of pressure on resource. There's a lot of pressure on cost of production. That's still going up. The power thing has settled down. You mentioned there about the power thing. I mean, a few years ago, it went like our electric bill for the year was £300,000. So that was it. Overnight, it went to 3 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Overnight, it went to 3 million. So that was the sort of level of impact we were having. That was mainly to do with the Ukraine challenges and things that are going on over there. So all that sort of stuff impacts us. But fundamentally, the market's considering everything that's going on is actually at the moment pretty positive. It's not by any stretch flying, but actually people are trying to do things different and trying to make things work and trying to figure out how to get that margin back, because the margin thing is really a challenge. I think the same is you commoditize the product and then you're trying to grow, so you have to get the margin back. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff going on, but it's not bad.
Yeah. Kel, what about in the Aussies?
It's
how y'all
tough,
holding up?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, down under. We haven't got a big marketplace like you guys, right? Like the population in Australia is 25 million people. That's, we've got the size of the US, geographically the size of the US with 25 million people. Yes, there's a big hunk of desert in the middle of it. 85% of that population in the southeast corner between Brisbane and Melbourne. So, we have a little hiccup in the market. We all feel it, and we are feeling it at the moment. There's no question that print in certain areas continues to slide a little bit. I was talking to some significant paper industry guys who are saying in certain market segments of coated papers, demand has dropped 50% in the last 6 years, and they think that in the next 5 it'll drop another 50%. So in that certain chunk of paper, in 11 years, demand will drop to 25% of what it was. Now that's a big slide. Right now, it's not like that across the board, but we're faced with a marketplace that has to deal with that. And how does the marketplace deal with that? Well, it consolidates because there's not quite enough to go around the number of print companies. And when I was starting out as a kid joining the family print business, there was a statistic that there was more printers per capita in Australia than any other country in the world. So we know a thing or two about competition, right? Because everybody was cranking up a Heidelberg GTO in his garage, and it's a little bit like the story of my dad 70 odd years ago when he started his business and used to do deliveries on his push bike. But we were in a competitive marketplace, and it's still very competitive. But what we're finding is consolidation happening more and more. We are expecting, with the downturn of the market, sadly, companies will be shutting their doors more than we've seen in the past. So, it's tough times. But then, as John hit on that point of margin, I think in the past, if people have tried to drive margin down, there's only so much you can do before you get to a point where it's no longer viable.
There's nowhere else to go.
But for companies. for companies that are continuing to push and innovate. And I think, one of maybe you talk about hot topics. What are the hot topics at the moment? I think AI is going to provide us with an incredible opportunity to look at the way that we run lots and lots, all of the processes in our print business, from order ingestion, from customer service, from sales, from estimating, from production management, from delivery, a whole bunch of different things, and talk about hot topics at Edge Long Beach. We can expand on that, but AI we're super excited by the amount of content that is going to be unraveling this AI discussion at Long Beach. But I really think that AI is going to give us a real once in a lifetime opportunity to really innovate in ways that we haven't seen possible before in our businesses. I think there are some some print businesses. I mean, John's already incorporating it into certain areas of his business. I was fortunate just a little while ago to spend a day or two at his facility in Sheffield in England, talking about how AI is already playing a part there. I think there's going to be the people who adopt, who embrace, who get in early, who understand it, who are prepared to give it a crack. Let's face it, we're in a traditional industry where, we're all aging a little bit. Change is not easy for us, but AI is going to give us that ability for the people who are prepared to tackle it, to really do some interesting things, and for the purpose of serving our customers better, running our business better, being more profitable as we do so.
Yeah. It's interesting you brought that up, because I was looking at who the keynote speakers were going to be for Edge this year, and you mentioned Erin Meyer, and she wrote this book, Netflix, The Culture of Reinvention. And so I immediately thought, how are we doing as a print industry of reinventing ourselves? And then I also kind of turned the mirror around. I'm like, am I at all kind of reinventing myself? Like, I feel like we're all in that space where we've got to take a hard look and figure out, are we taking the right steps to do what we need to do? Yeah. So what do you think, John? Are we reinventing ourselves in the print industry?
Yeah, I think we give ourselves a little bit of a hard time as an industry, right? I think we make out as if we're not changing or not moving with the times. I think there's more innovation that goes on in our industry and most of our businesses than Amazon every day, right? I think we innovate a lot. Maybe we need to be brave. My point on the AI front is this is a once in a generation opportunity and a once in a generation threat. This is going to see off more printers than the internet saw off. But it's going to make more printers than the internet survive as well, right? So those that grab it with both hands will thrive, and those that don't, it will take them out.
Well, that was a big topic.
Is my opinion.
At Glimpse, obviously AI was a big topic, but what was it again? At the cognitive revolution?
It was.
That it's
yes.
like they're equating this to like the industrial revolution, only it's like a cognitive, and that it's like if you've got to embrace it. And I understand I need to embrace it, Betsy, since I'm the only person on the planet who hasn't chatted GPT'd up or anything.
Chatted GPT. Love it.
But embracing it and understanding, I think, how you can really smartly use it in your business to, streamline or just make certain functions smarter, I think is really going to, reinvent and change the way we approach things.
Yeah. Well, and you've even talked about, Kim, that you work a lot in the dining industry, and talking about somebody that's having to reinvent themselves post-COVID and all of that. Like, it's been a big impact here in the States.
It's been a big impact. I would say definitely in dining and in the retail space.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of like we're having a reset. We've had, I don't know, not so much, I think, from the print side of companies, but from our client side of companies. We're seeing a lot of, a lot of filings and a lot of restructuring. And I think a lot of people trying to understand how to connect with consumers, how to drive traffic, what that looks like, how print and digital is a big component of that, and where AI fits in to make those communications personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're seeing the same, and that transformation piece again. Back to us. So I think we move quite fast. We've got to move faster. We have to be able to fit in this new world. I think the scary piece about the AI is it changes the complete thought pattern of how we do business when we turn up at work. Right? It changes it. It's not a new thing. It is the thing, right? It's like it is changing everything. I was on a call with my son Harrison, who has an AI business, right? And he's 21. You know him, Betsy and Kel, and he's the new breed of people getting into print and everything, and it's fantastic. But they said to him, "Oh, we need you to be able to do PHP development." And he said, "Yeah, no problem." And I'm thinking, you don't know how to be a PhD. You're not a PhD developer. You can't do this.
I love it.
And he's going, yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem. And he put the phone down, and I said, "Are you crazy? You can't do a PHP." He said, "Dad, why would I need to be a PHP developer? I get AI to be my PHP developer. I'll do it in half an hour." And it just hit me like a brick. I thought, my God, that's it. That's it right there. It's absolutely game changing.
That's wild.
Game changing.
The Wild West.
The Wild West.
The Wild West.
But you got to see it. But you got to see it like an opportunity, right? Because if you see it as a threat, it's going to eat you alive, and you're never going to get into it. And you think about the internet coming along. Well, this is the third strike on the age comment, right? But because Kelvin's done 2, and I'm going for the third one.
Wow.
But
it's a tough crowd, Betsy.
I actually remember the first internet lesson. I was at university, no mobile phone, no computer.
Right.
I got a letter under my door. Don't laugh, Betsy. I got a letter under my door saying, "You need to do an extra lesson in the IT suite. It's called the internet." We're like, this is rubbish. We walked down the corridor. We went into IT suite, and they said, "Type in www. / We're like, this will never take off. I remember that.
That's wild.
That's how old I am. And look what's happened to it. But if you embrace it, you go, and it's the same with on steroids. It's going to be awesome. It's a great opportunity, though.
Yeah, we were saying this the other day. Go ahead, Kel.
Did you jump in your horse and cart and go home after that, John?
No,
I did.
No, we're in the UK. We're in the UK, buddy. We have bicycles.
Oh, right. Oh, good.
Kel, you're confusing it. Oklahoma is where we were on the horse and carriage.
Yeah, sure,
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Yeah.
We had skateboards.
You had skateboards. So the other thing that you just brought up, one of the things I can't wait to talk about at DSCOOP. I was looking through all the different tracks and stuff this morning, but we cannot stop talking about the next generation, and early talent and all that. And I think of Harrison, and you guys. We have people in our business as well that are engaging their kids, and they're starting to become really fantastic employees, and they're the ones that are pushing us to do better and to do things. But so Harrison, obviously, all about it. Kel, what's going on with your kids? Is the AI generation impacting the Gages?
The saddest thing was when Daddy sold the print business that I couldn't continue on. But I did talk to them the other day, and I said, if I still had the print business, would you want to have joined? And they said, "Thanks, Dad, but no thanks." Appreciate that. My daughter, I'm very happy to say my daughter's gone on to be a marketer with Unilever, and so I get her to push the print barrow there because, as we know, with some of these big brands, they play around with their marketing spend, and a bit of it's moving away from print. But yeah, look, there's no question that the slightly more conservative generation that runs the print world these days is different to the younger generation, and we're going to rely on it. But to John's point about AI and opportunity, we've often talked about how we appeal to the younger generation, right? How we get Gen Zs into this print business that we love and we think is sexy and cool. They just don't quite see it the same way. I think AI is going to provide us an opportunity to improve our business, an opportunity to improve our margin, but an opportunity to bring in this next generation of people who are thinking with new ways of thinking and new ways of doing things.
Well, I also
Betsy,
think.
do you know? I heard. Sorry to interrupt. I heard an amazing stat the other week, which kind of sat me down for a little bit. By 2030, 50% of all of our customers are Gen Z or millennials. By 2030.
That's 5 years. Is that 5 years from now? Quick math.
That's quick math.
Like
Betsy.
four and a bit.
It's 5 years.
We were laughing earlier today that the term Gen Alpha
Oh yes.
was used. Yeah, we're out of alphabet, so we've gone into
Yeah. like the Greek alphabet, like we do with hurricanes here.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, Gen Alpha, I guess, is who is going to be right behind us.
So Gen Alpha's a hurricane coming. Is that what you're saying?
Evidently, yes.
There probably will be
It
a hurricane
probably will
coming.
be,
It
yeah.
probably will be.
Fair enough.
Definitely.
Fair enough.
But you know, one of the things too, when you
But
talk
Bets,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, Kim.
Yeah,
I
Kim,
was
go
just going
ahead.
to finish
I was-
off and round that up by saying that DSCOOP now, and I don't want this to sound like an editorial, but we just get excited and passionate about it. But for anybody that doesn't know what the future of AI is, then Long Beach is going to be a great insight, right? A great view, set of glasses into that. And we've got some amazing, as well as a suite of speakers that is talking about it, tracks that are dedicated to it, but some really cool, funky, interactive things. In fact, that's, maybe you and my role of being up on stage may be under threat a little bit by bots and avatars and
Just gonna be a
things
bunch
like
of
that.
bots.
So we're going to be doing ourselves out of a job, right?
There's going to be a Kelvin bot on stage emceeing.
Definitely.
and a Betsy
Yeah.
bot.
So John
Betsy
can,
bot.
so John
Betsy
can
bot.
control me far better than he does
Then he
now.
tries to, yes. You will have much better luck controlling us as
You-
bots than you will as
Yeah,
actual
As humans.
you'll be able to stop the bot talking.
Impossible.
Yeah. Kim, what were you forgot to say something?
No, just when you guys were talking about the next generation and reinvention, and Cal mentioned his daughter not going into print but going into marketing.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, I think print has reinvented itself or is in the process of it, not with technologies and tools, but I definitely feel like it's much more of a marketing. Like we talk much more marketing. When I started in print, it was much more manufacturing and print and press okays and color, and all of that stuff still applies. But I feel like we're more of we're kind of a partner, but we're almost like an arm of certain brands' marketing departments. So it's what new innovations out there, what can we do to help drive the conversation? And I think, I think print marketing with a twist, which we came up
Right.
with, I think print marketing really kind of shapes where I see it heading or continue to head in that direction.
Yeah, I say this all the time. I talk more tech
Tech?
and data
Yeah, than I do paper.
than
and
I do
ink.
four color process or ink on paper, paper substrate. I'm talking tech and data all the time. I know with you two, it's the same. I mean,
Yeah, print is just the outcome, right? What
Right,
we're trying to
it's
do
a
is
channel.
deliver deliver the ROI and make it fit in the world. And I'm with you, Kim. I think it's changing quicker than people give it credit. Yes, there's consolidation. I get that. Yes, there's issues with that, and everyone's doing it, and that's the same all over the world. But for those that manage to consolidate and to do it and to embrace the new technologies, it's a very it's a big opportunity. I genuinely think it's a once in a generation opportunity for print to become at the forefront again, because that tangible, it's still the most trusted medium. It's still sustainable. It's personalized. It's on demand. It's localized. Like all the big trends that are happening in the world, print delivers in those areas, and it's now about re-educating, bringing the next generation through to understand its importance. Groups like DSCOOP to allow it to amplify itself and to be at the forefront of everything. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us.
yeah. One of the things I also thought about when I was looking at the keynotes is Damon John, who's from Shark Tank and founder of FUBU. But immediately just thought of entrepreneurship. And if I think about DSCOOP and even just print owners of a lot of the companies, a lot of us come from that kind of entrepreneurial background. And when I think about people that are also kind of forced or just tend to adopt the next thing that's up and coming and are kind of they're risk takers, I think there's a huge community. I mean, do you guys agree or disagree that a lot of the DSCOOPers are very entrepreneurial in spirit? And I think that we're all kind of ready to take on the risk a little more than others, maybe. Am I imagining that? What do you guys think?
I love it. Oh, I love it. And again, going back to going back to the heart and soul of DSCOOP, right?
Yeah.
And your ticket to DSCOOP is being typically a user of HP Indigo gear. And I always used to say this when I first got involved, right? As the market leader, by far and away the best in digital print technology, the people that were getting involved were the market leaders, right? Were the innovators. And you go right back to Jack Flaken's days when he founded it, right? These were the mavericks in the industry. So the people that we do associate with, you guys on this call, lots of our buddies are those entrepreneurial types, right? They're far more entrepreneurial than perhaps other segments of the market, but they're the ones that are at the forefront of innovation. They're the ones at the forefront of technology, the ones that are pushing the boundaries. And I really think, just pick up on Kim's point before, a little bit about how we dialogue with our customers and how we take innovation and how we take what we do in this amazing industry to our customers. I find a lot of, back in the days when I did have the print business, that my customers would be coming to me asking, what's the latest in print or marketing technology? What new innovation is out there? Now, number one, DSCOOP was my ticket to find out what those new things were. Number two, we'd actually build it into our quarterly business reviews or our tender process or our contracts. But it was my responsibility as a print vendor to bring new ideas once a quarter, to show them what was happening around the world, to show them what was happening in the marketplace, so that they could either, they could consider incorporating it into their marketing effort. I mean, at the end of the day, we are still putting ink on paper. We're still laminating it. We're still folding it. We're still stitching it. We're doing what, my dad was doing 70 years ago. We're just doing it in a different, new, more innovative way. And I think we've even got to change some of our dialogue. Stop talking about print. We're delivering content, right? So if we're just delivering content in a tangible, practical, valid, reliable, trustworthy way. And so I think, as sort of bringing those two little points together, right, the entrepreneurial nature and spirit of the leaders in the industry are now are constantly challenging the status quo, bringing new things to the market, helping support customers, drive content creation in new, innovative, interesting, and exciting ways. And we've got to keep pushing that, because the rest of the marketplace, the Gen Zs or the Alphas, are going to keep pushing the digital process. But if we balance the act and keep educating our customers as to why print continues to be the best media to deliver content, then we keep the seesaw in balance.
Yeah. You talk about entrepreneurship and saying about our group, but can you imagine now having the opportunities that you've got to be an entrepreneur if you're coming through as a youngster now? The opportunities are off the charts. There are more entrepreneurs now than there ever was, and just because they're not got these big factories or got these big businesses, they are all entrepreneurs. There's more individual business owners than there ever was before, that are making more money than we can ever dream of in a completely different way. Right? What we have to do is understand that the print industry is still it's been such a long industry, but it's in its infancy in its digital transformation. There's so much opportunity still for it to grow into digital transformation. That doesn't mean having the same traditional models anymore. Think Uber, think Amazon. What are we doing with the print industry? There isn't going to be thousands of small printers owning their own press, producing their own stuff now. It will be renting presses. It will be utilizing other people's presses, right? Same as that home market. You don't buy houses like you used to anymore. You share them. You don't buy cars like you used to. You borrow them, right? We need to start thinking about that in our industry, of how we actually being brave about radically changing the way we service these amazing volume of amazing entrepreneurs that are driving the content, as Kel said. And that's where the opportunity is. But we've got to switch off to our of the way we've thought of before and completely change the way we approach to servicing. But if we do it, it will be amazing.
Yeah. I'm excited to, I think I saw something where we're having some of the young talent that are going to be at DSCOOP doing one of the tracks. Like, I want to sit on that one. Like, where are their heads at with this? Like, where are they ready to take this? Like, I actually, preparing for today, thought about your conversations, John, about your daughter. Like, I haven't even met her yet, but I'm like, she's going to be the CEO of something, like she's going to be one of those entrepreneurs. Harrison's going to do something and she's going to be right behind it, like just taking over, Yeah. But I want to hear what they have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think they're confident. I think they live in a digital world. I think they're brave. I think they have no boundaries. I think they're global, and it's unbelievable to see. And by the way, they work their asses off, right? So this idea of, and I'm going to be the first to say, this idea about kids not working hard is absolute nonsense. My kids and their peers work harder than I ever did at their age, are more focused than I ever was at their age, and are more wise about how to make money and how to live in their world and to than I ever was at their age. So I'm not having the myth that they're lazy. They're just different, right? But the opportunities they've got are incredible.
Yeah. I just had a conversation with my sister-in-law about my nephew who is 20, will be 21 next October, but she was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be learning from Keller at this point. She was like, even how I'm managing my relationship at home with your brother, like, what is happening? Like, he's smarter at, like, all of the, and he, to your point, like, I'm fascinated by watching all the different balls that he has in the air as he's studying and killing it at school, but, like, and their heads are already thinking, like, he already knows exactly what he wants to do. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And, like, they... it's really fun and
You've
fascinating
grown up
to watch.
according to Cal. We've all grown up according to Cal.
Oh yeah, I'm 75 at this point.
Yeah.
Bets,
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, Cal.
Just to finish on that next gen piece, and it's a huge topic in our industry. So at Long Beach, for example, and we've got a guy, Mike Ferrari, shout out to him. He runs our academia program at DSCOOP and has done a wonderful job over many years of bringing a whole bunch of kids at still at different stages of uni or college into DSCOOPs, right? So around the halls of DSCOOP, we see all these young kids who are excited about print, who are studying print, who can't wait to get into it. We're matching people up with the future of the industry. The fact that we're in California this year, again, shout out to one of our awesome guys out of Japan, of all places, Yuki, who does a lot of work with Cal Poly, and we're bringing a busload of students for a particular day down in, and they're going to learn, and they're going to mix, and they're going to network. And these guys want to soak up information, right? They want to know about it. They want to create the connections. It's an awesome opportunity for us to get with them, but to learn, right? Because as John said, these are our customers even now or in the next 5 years. They're going to be our customers. I remember running really quickly a bit of a seminar on one of the small stages at a DSCOOP a number of years ago, and we were talking about this little bit of the gen gap that we had seen, and I'm going back 5 or 6 years, and you had some of the typical print production guys saying, look, or salesmen saying, the new generation, they don't ring you back, they won't dialogue on the phone, they won't do this, and having a bit of whinge. And there was a Gen Zer in the crowd, and he just stood up and he said, mate, I'm sick of hearing you whinge about all of this. Learn about the way that we want to do business. We don't want to talk to you necessarily, right? We want to interact with you online. We want you to do this, and this. And it was such a massive eye-opener to say, hey, this is how our customers want to do business with us in the future. And again, those who are going to learn how to do business with the print buyers of the future are the ones who are going to prosper. And again, there's going to be lots of those sort of people around at Long Beach that we can dialogue with, learn from, offer jobs to potentially. Yuki in Japan is doing an exchange program with some students out of Cal Poly. So there's some students going and spending time learning print in Japan. So fascinating stuff. It's all part of that community, but it is plugging this next gen hole that has for so long been a bit of a challenge to the industry.
Yeah, we're figuring out. You look like you're about to say something.
No, I just agree. I mean, I think obviously AI is a big part of it, but I think just technology, how we use it, going back to pre-internet. I remember pre-internet too, John, so I just want to know that I'm with you there. You got a friend there. But I got you. Yeah, I think just the technology piece of it, how the marketing conversations, the different types of conversations. I thought, and Cal said, we're all it's content generation. It's just one channel of how to use that in your marketing messages to, reach people. And I think all of that is changing how we do business and how we talk about our business, which I think also engages the next generation, that this is a different look and feel than it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago. And so I think I just think our industry as a whole is definitely headed for a new look and feel, but I think it's super exciting. And I think to the technologies is really, putting us into a different playing field than when we all started.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think back, I don't know, 25 years, I guess this year it'll be that I've been in the print industry. And I think about, we were big time when we had a storefront. Like we were, selling a storefront to somebody. And, now that just is commonplace. And just to see all the things. I mean, even, John, you said something earlier about doing things differently. It's one of the reasons we're sitting here doing this podcast.
Exactly. I'm like, this is different.
we have to do something differently. We have to reach people in a different format than what we've used to. We can't just email and rely on our websites anymore either. We have to do this. So to think that I would think 25 years ago that I'd be sitting here talking to people across the globe doing a podcast.
Hey, Betsy, just to jump in, this is a perfect example, right? We say things have changed for the worse, but it's changed for the better because we're sat having a glass of wine talking, and this is work, right? So
right?
I
This is work.
I'm embracing the new world of work. Like, I like it.
I love it too. Well, speaking of, you have an early flight very soon, so we will wrap it up. But any final thoughts before I see you guys in hopefully like three weeks or so? I'll be seeing you in Long Beach. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm a little.
I have one. Where's Benji? Kel?
Oh,
come on.
He's asleep. He's still asleep upstairs. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I could have brought Benji on for a special cameo, but
right.
Benji's my little puppy dog, my sidekick. Sadly, Qantas won't let me bring him to Long Beach. I would love to have had him there, and he would love to have been there, but Benj won't be there. Bets, looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. It's very exciting at this stage, and we're bringing sort of 15 or 20 Aussies are coming all the way over.
Oh
Which
Lord!
in itself is a little bit of a.
All right.
I'm gonna have to have more. I'm gonna have to have maybe more of this to get ready for you guys. Yeah. No, I love the Aussies. They're all so great. So fun.
Batten down the hatches. Batten it down. So that's part of it. And we are catching up in a few weeks, and we'll create some more memories. And we haven't got a chance to talk about them today, but I think that's the key, isn't it? Right? We started with saying it's only 3 years. I cannot believe it's only 3 years.
I mean,
at the same time, what a fantastic 3 years.
I was telling Kel before we jumped on that I was scrolling through my phone this morning, trying to figure out when we had all met, and then I kept scrolling. I mean, just the fun, like I was cracking up at like the pictures, and I don't know, even you guys.
One of my favorite photo is of you in Indy with Harrison.
Yes.
Right? And he calls you Auntie Betsy, right? And he's got the stupid sunglasses
with
on
our
because he might have had a few too many.
Yeah.
And and you and him are on there. It's one of my favorite photos.
Well,
Fantastic.
and I also, I mean, like, I don't know, there was one, like, I love that you guys, like, I'm always very jealous. They'll send me pictures of whenever they're all together doing something fun without me, and they make sure to call or send a picture or something and rub it in my face. I don't know, there's just a ton of moments that we've all experienced together.
I think it just goes to paint a picture that the community, the connections, the friendships, that are created in DSCOOP are second to none. And my work life and my personal life, I was with John at his house a couple of weeks ago. As I mentioned, John will come over and visit me hopefully at Christmas. He's been over once already a couple of years ago. These connections are made through this wonderful community that we call DSCOOP, and albeit that it's only if you're not coming along, if you're listening to this and you're not coming along, there is still plenty of opportunity. So jump onto dscoop.com and dscoop.org, sorry, and just DSCOOP, Google it, you'll find it. I should know.
I actually looked it up to make sure, and we'll edit this, but it's dscoop.com/Long Beach, and it's May 14th through the 17th. in Long Beach. Come see us.
Bet
Yeah,
you,
we're going to edit. We're going to edit quite a lot, Kel. So don't worry.
We're going to edit a lot
thanks
out.
very much.
Yeah.
But you asked for closing comments. I think, for a guy that's been around the industry, I reckon longer than you two. Stop laughing, heads, guys. Has done all sorts of things in the industry in terms of building a business, selling businesses, buying businesses, working for other people, working in consulting in different places all over the world and all that sort of stuff. I really don't think I've ever been as excited or has seen quite the opportunity that is before us now. And my challenge is who is brave enough to tackle it, take it on, move with it, roll with it. And DSCOOP is a perfect partner, tool or platform with which to launch some of that. So I'm super excited, A, about getting together, but B, about the future of the industry that we all love and has been so kind to us.
Yeah, love it. Johnny, any final thoughts?
No, I think I've probably said enough, and you've not asked any of the questions. No, I just sum it up with what Kel said. It's a very hard industry. What we do, we all work very, very hard. You have to work hard with what we do to make it work. And when you are able to find a community that is there to support you through tough times, bad times, to cry together, to be vulnerable together, to laugh together, which is as important, being vulnerable as the good times, which I think DSCOOP does, and it's definitely going to do in Long Beach. Some of the stuff I'm working on there. I think is just I'm very proud and very humbled to be part of it and to be invited to come on here with you and sit with you and Kim and talk about this, and to get an opportunity to see that Aussie every time I get a chance to see him on screen, believe it or not, is quite a good thing. So so thanks for having me, and thanks for listening to us, and keep doing what you're doing, because this is great.
I love it. Well, love you both. I will see you in a few weeks. Thank you so much for the time.
Right. Thank you for the time.
All
Thanks,
right, guys.
Kim. Thanks, Betsy.
Night,
Love your
guys.
work.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Ciao.
See ya. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Travel
Bye.
safe, John.